I'm not at all surprised that the Venezuelans have asked Russia, Iran, and China for assistance. China has long been Venezuela's most important creditor and an important commercial partner. About 82% of Venezuela's much diminished oil exports go to China. Russia has sold, and for years has been selling weapons to the Venezuelans, and Iran has worked with Venezuela to forge an international coalition against the United States. Do I think that they could collectively deter the naval force we have deployed to the Caribbean? I doubt it. And that force is being reinforced by the deployment of the U.S. aircraft carrier Ford, which is arguably the most powerful ship of its type in the world, with very significant capabilities. A real war, I don't see this happening. President Trump has himself been asked that question, the question of whether the current deployments could lead to a full-scale war. And he has said on national TV, he doubts it. In terms of whether, as some commentators have said, he's looking for a victory, I don't think that plays into what's going on in the region in any significant way. I think the capabilities of the United States military have never been in question. And really what we're seeing, I think, in these deployments is a renewed interest in the Western Hemisphere and a renewed determination by the administration to defend U.S. interests in the region, particularly in the face of what the Trump administration sees as the ongoing assault on the U.S. By the narco-traffickers. Narco-traffickers, the administration considers terrorists. This is, the question of how the region is viewing this deployment and these military operations is an interesting one. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, for instance, has been very positive and supportive of the U.S. operation. Guyana has also largely been supportive. The group of countries known as CARICOM took the position that they would prefer to see counter-narcotics cooperation or activities carried out as a law enforcement matter. But both Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana are part of CARICOM, and they took a very different position. Relations with Colombia have become very difficult of late, but this difficulty to a very large degree precedes the deployment. But one can see that things have deteriorated with Colombia in the fact that the U.S. decertified the government of Colombia for failing to cooperate fully with the United States in counter-narcotics operations, and that we have also canceled the visa of President Petro. Other countries, I think criticism, when there has been criticism, has been quite muted. We see, for instance, that President Sheinbaum of Mexico is cooperating with the United States. The United States also recently negotiated a new agreement with Ecuador and made a grant to the Ecuadorian government of about $20 million to help support their security activities. It's important for, I think, an international audience to understand just how problematic the Venezuelan dictatorship has become for the region. About 8 million Venezuelans have fled Venezuela. 8 million, that's a full quarter of the country's population. It is a population that exceeds the population of 22 different countries in the region. There may be as many as 3 million Venezuelan refugees in Colombia, hundreds of thousands in the United States, but also very significant numbers in Ecuador, in Peru, in Venezuela. As recently as 2 days ago, I had a conversation with a Peruvian who noted the rise in difficulties largely attributed to the refugee population from Venezuela. So while I think it is predictable that many in the region would prefer the United States not act unilaterally, and there are clearly some who would regret what they see as a return to gunboat diplomacy by the United States, I think much of the region is really exasperated with, frustrated by, and ready to see a change in Venezuela. And I think the region is desperately interested to see the problem of international narcotics trafficking finally brought under control.